Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Literally What podcast. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. If you're tuning in for your fifth time, your first time, your second time, I'm so happy to have you guys here. And I hope you're ready for some hot gossip, hot take stories, and advice that will have you leaving this podcast saying, literally what? Hi, guys. Happy end of the weekend, I guess. I have had a crazy last week, and I have a lot to fill you guys in on. So thank you for bearing with me putting this podcast up a little bit late, but I have had a ton of fun stuff going on. But before we jump into all of that, make sure you are following the Instagram, subscribing to the YouTube, giving the pod a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are tuning in. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you see my cute little pink background, it is a work in progress, but this is the best we have where we're at right now. And the last thing is to make sure you are emailing in any advice that you guys, if you need some advice from me, if something's going crazy in your life, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you guys and give you the best advice ever. I think that's all the housekeeping. I don't want to bore you guys with it, but OMG, do I have the best weekend recap. I guess I have 2 weekend recaps to fill you guys in on because it's now the end of this weekend, which it feels so crazy because we changed the clocks. I think it was yesterday. So I was looking outside, it's pitch black, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's only 6:30. I hate when they do that because it always messes me up. And now I'm exhausted and it feels like it's bedtime, but no, it's just dinner time, girl. Like, get with it. But yeah, it's crazy whenever we do the whole clock change thing. Anyways, weekend recaps. I just have so much to fill you guys in on. So the last weekend was Halloween weekend, and then this weekend is my crazy move to Florida weekend. You heard that correctly. I am in Florida, baby. I'm back to my roots. If you watched my first podcast, I was born in Florida, and I am going to be back in Florida 23 years later with my future husband. So it's a full circle moment for me, a lot of change going on, and yeah, I'm gonna spill all the deets to you guys, but we're gonna get into the first weekend recap, Halloween weekend, because what a weekend it was. Halloween, to me, I love Halloween, but I just, like I was saying last time, I never put any effort into the costumes. I do in my brain for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then the week and days leading up to Halloween, I never do anything about the costume. And then it's a thrown together situation. But I will say, me and my fiance did slay our Halloween costume. We were Clase Azul, the tequila bottle. Well, he was a tequila bottle and I was a lime. And I thought it was so cute because if you know us, we are obsessed with Mexican. We are obsessed with margaritas. You will always find us sipping on a margarita. And that's just the way that we roll, So I was a lime, and the amount of people that thought I was a margarita, it was so funny. I had so many people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, you're a margarita. That's so cute. And I don't want to correct them because, whatevs. But I was a lime. He was a tequila bottle. And the process to make his costume made me, I think, grow a whole head of gray hair, because in my head, I was just going to get a white t-shirt. And then to make the pattern of the tequila bottle, I was going to get that fancy printer paper that you iron onto the shirt. So I decide to get that. I test it out. Doesn't want to stick to the shirt. Okay. Doesn't stick to the shirt. So then I turned the shirt around and try it again. The whole thing leaked all over the iron. It got stuck onto the iron, stuck onto the shirt, didn't look good at all. And that was the only piece he had to wear for his costume. That was like the one thing that would make everyone know what he was. So I could not screw that up because then he would just be in a white t-shirt with some blue blobs all over himself. So that didn't work. And then the t-shirt was ruined at that point because it was, the freaking transfer paper all over the place. So then I had to get a new t-shirt. And then I had to, I kid you not, draw in pencil the whole entire pattern and then use this tiny little brush to draw and paint in blue. And I did this an hour and a half before I had to leave to go to this Halloween party. I am very last minute, if you can't tell with that. And so I'm painting. It's a pain in the ass to do because it's so I don't even know the word. It's just there's so many details to it, and I have to make sure all the lines and circles are even, and anyway, it was a whole thing. So I'm painting. I finally get it done. I go pack up the rest of my stuff, and then by the time I get down, I'm like, I have to, fold this shirt up, but the paint is not dry, and it is navy blue paint, and it's on a white shirt. So if it's not dry, then the whole thing is gonna smear all over the thing and mess up my hard work that I rushed to do. And so I just was like, screw, I'm just gonna lay it down in the trunk, and you can already tell where this is going. So I put it in the trunk, I pack up all my stuff, and I'm driving to the Halloween thing, and by the time I get there, it has moved around, of course, and there's just like blue splotches everywhere, and I was just so, it's like at that point you can't really do anything about it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was in my head, but I just was like, I worked so hard on making all of these patterns and these circles and these flower petals and whatever the heck the pattern was to be all even and so perfect, because that's the only thing he's really wearing. And there were these blue splotches everywhere, and it was driving me nuts, and I felt bad, and that's what I get for being last minute. But it did end up being a really good costume when we were like next to each other. If we weren't, obviously people thought I was a margarita, and they probably had no idea who the hell he was. I mean, he was just in a white shirt with blue paint splotched all around him, but it turned out decent. It didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would turn out, but it could have been way better. And next year I will be making our Halloween costumes a month, if not 2 months in advance, so that they are crisp, clean, perfect. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to certain things. Like if I have my mind set on something, for instance, if I am going to an event, I will have in my head the exact style, color, pattern, everything of the outfit that I want to wear, and I will not get that outfit unless it is exactly what I'm picturing in my head. It could not even exist in the world, but I have to, or it will just drive me insane. Same with shoes, same with, the whole shirt situation. I knew it had to look a certain way, and anyway, it's a blessing and a curse when you are so like type A about certain things and how they look. I don't even know if that's a type A situation, but it turned out fine. In my head I was like, everyone's gonna be drunk anyway and probably not gonna notice the blue splotches on his shirt, and he still looks super cutie. So I think it was a successful Halloween costume. It was definitely a very creative Halloween costume. But we get to the Halloween party with our friends, and we're about to head out to go to one of the bars, and one of the girls comes in and says that Matthew Perry had passed away, and it broke 2 minutes before she announced it, so it was like just had happened. And my fiance, whose name is Chandler, was not okay after he heard that, and it was like a whole thing because his name's Chandler, and so he always thinks of himself as being named after Chandler from Friends, which he wasn't really, but in his head he was like, oh my gosh, that's literally the guy I'm named after. He's over in the corner just so upset and just like sitting on the couch the whole next hour just so depressed and sad about it. And I was like, I don't even know what to do because this is like, so sad. But so that happened. Then we all had to walk to the bar, and I tried to cheer him up the whole time, and luckily we were with a ton of people, so it was distracting him. But I was like, this is the worst possible time for bad news about the guy that your name is the same as on your favorite TV show passes. It was a whole thing. But then we got to the bar, and we were definitely the youngest group of people at this bar. It was all these older couples, and let me just say, older couples are crazy. They were making out all over in the bar. It was a whole thing. And so for the most part, we stayed outside and played cornhole, and I made my fiance drink Dirty Shirley's, which if you don't know, it's vodka, Sprite, and grenadine. Bad idea because you will wake up with the worst stomachache ever because of all the sugar. I try to drink stuff that doesn't have any sugar in it, but I don't know why we were drinking Dirty Shirley's. That's like the most random. We've never had one before, and we were all just drinking Dirty Shirley's, and they were amazing, but not a good idea for the next day. So that's what we spent most of the night doing, drinking Dirty Shirley's and playing cornhole together. So that was a lot of fun. And then we woke up the next morning, and once you get older and you experience a lot of your going out party days, I feel like those days have definitely passed me because I woke up not okay. And I've come to the conclusion that there are different types of hangovers, and you will experience every single one in your lifetime. And it came that Halloween weekend, it finally clicked with me, like the different kinds of hangovers that I at least get for myself. And which ones I prefer and which ones I do not prefer. And the one that I had that morning is the just stomach upset from drinking so much sugar and then not being able to eat food. So sometimes I'll wake up and my stomach will just be so upset and I can't even think about food. And my fiance just like doesn't really get bad hangovers. I don't know why, it pisses me off, but so he wasn't hungover, I was, and it was the type of hangover, again, like I said, where I just can't eat food. And so my favorite restaurant is Waffle House. I grew up going to Waffle House. I don't know what it is about it. It's like my favorite place to go, especially late at night or like in the morning. Me and my sister would always go together. It was like a tradition. We would always go on Christmas Eve, or maybe it was Black Friday. Anyway, but I love Waffle House. And so he was like, so he never ever wants to go to Waffle House because it's not like his favorite place to go, but it's my favorite place to go, and we never really have been in forever. And this particular morning he woke up and he was like, let's go to Waffle House, it sounds so good. And I kid you not, I'm like, I cannot go. We pulled into the parking lot. I'm like, I can't walk in there. I can't think about food. I can't smell the food. I can't do this right now. And that's when he was like, okay, this is how I know you are not okay if you're turning down Waffle House. But if I ever, bottom line, turn down Waffle House, just know something is seriously wrong with me. I don't think I've ever in my 23 years of living have turned down going to Waffle House. And I did. And I regret it because it's amazing. And I don't care if you think it's dirty. It builds your immune system, okay? So anyway, that happened. Anyway, I keep saying anyway. Oh my gosh. Sorry. But what I'm trying to say is, now that I'm 23 and I went out to the bar with our friends, that one night killed me. It just killed me. I can't do that stuff anymore. I used to be crazy. I could do it nights in a row. No, I can't go out anymore. I can't stay up late. I need to be in bed watching my show by 9 p.m. in my matching PJ set. That's just, I have to accept that, and I don't want to accept it because I still feel young, and I am still young, but my body is like, no, your time is over. So that's like the worst type of hangover for me, is when I like can't eat and I'm just like feeling so nauseous. And then there's the other types of hangovers. There's two other types that I have found in my life. There's the one hangover where you wake up, your stomach is fine, but your head feels like an elephant is sitting on it, and you can't even close your eyes because it hurts so bad. You can't even look at the light. Okay, that's the second hangover. And the third hangover is the one that just seems to last forever. You're not nauseous, you don't have a headache, but you're just so dizzy and tired and exhausted and can't function, can't do anything, can't do one small little task except just lay in your bed for hours and hours, if not the whole day and into the next day. So those are the three types that I have found. And on Halloween, I guess Dirty Shirley's just give me I can't even walk into a Waffle House, my favorite restaurant in the world. And that is my weekend Halloween recap. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it was fun, but it wasn't like a crazy night. I guess it was kind of crazy, but I just can't do that stuff anymore. I mean, my fiance the next morning and our friends are like, we just can't do that all the time anymore, because it's just your body, when your body tells you it's time to be done with your young party days, you can't argue with it because it's not up to you anymore, unfortunately. So that was fun. It was a fun weekend, fun Halloween weekend. I will say though, the actual day of Halloween that was on a Tuesday, do people just not trick or treat anymore? Because I did not see any children at all, barely. And I kept seeing things online about like couples who had their first house, like it was their first year passing out candy, and no one would come to the door. And it's so sad to me that people don't do that anymore, because that was such a big part of my childhood. And in my neighborhood, we would go trick-or-treat every single year, and there would be tons and tons and tons of kids trick-or-treating. And if that's going out, that's so sad, because it's so fun. So if you're a kid listening to this, I know you're probably not, but still go out and trick-or-treat and knock on doors, because it's like so sad that kids aren't doing that anymore. I don't understand. Anyway, all right, so this weekend recap. Yes, I am in Florida. So my fiance, his job moved him down here to Florida, and so I am here getting the house all set up, and already we have 34 days until the wedding, which is so crazy to me. And oh my gosh. But I definitely wanted to make sure that the whole house was good and ready to go after we get married. And I didn't realize how much work goes into like moving and making sure you have everything together, and making sure you get the Wi-Fi and you get the water heater, and you like, you know, you unpack all the boxes, and then it's like, well, where the heck do you bring all the boxes? And you don't realize how much stuff you have and how much work there is to do. So hopefully we get it all done before the wedding. So yeah, I'm a Florida girl now. So I'm going to be super tan and freckly. Not really, I'm just going to burn, but my freckles will come out. So when I am in the sun, I just get like tons and tons and tons of freckles. And it's so funny because like right now, since it's cold out and I've been in Georgia, like my freckles just aren't really out. Like I have freckles, you can tell, but they're not like that. But then you'll see once I'm down here in Florida permanently, I'm going to have so many freckles. It's crazy how many freckles I get, and I love them, but freckles are so weird to me. I don't know. It's like, why can't my whole body just be that tan, you know? Just why they have to be just freckles? Why can't my whole body be that tan? Then I don't have to self-tan myself. But that's what I've been doing all weekend, is just trying to move and organize and get things ready. And I have a long list of stuff that I need to get for the house, because you don't realize how much stuff you need. It's crazy to me. But I have a meeting. I need to know your guys' thoughts on this, because I don't know where I came up with this. But we were getting one of the bedrooms set up, and the way it was laid out, we had the bed on one wall, and then we were going to put a dresser on the other side of the wall, and the dresser has a mirror. But I don't know where I came up with this, or if it's a thing. And if it is, let me know that I'm not crazy. But I cannot ever have a mirror facing the bed. So like whatever bed I'm in, there can't be a mirror directly across from me, facing me in the bed, if that makes sense. And I'm just like, I put my foot down because we were moving stuff around. I was like, no, like it cannot be right here. I don't care if the bed has to be moved over a foot, as long as they're not like centralized, like central, whatever, like facing each other, that's fine. But I don't know where I heard that, but I have never ever had a bed facing my mirror, and I've never had a mirror facing my bed ever, and I would never ever do that. And I don't know why I'm like that, but I feel like it's a thing. People just don't, like, you're not supposed to. But then I see people who do have a mirror across from their bed, but I just cannot. I will never do that. I feel like it's bad luck, or there's something that I saw forever ago, and I just have been like that forever. But when we were setting it up, I was like, I wonder if anyone else feels that way, or if that has happened to anyone where the mirror was facing their bed and they had nightmares or whatever. So if you've heard of that, let me know what that means and why my brain, I was just like, no, like it cannot be facing the bed. It cannot. I don't care. Even if it's like an inch, just, it can't be directly in front. Anyway, if that's a thing, let me know. Or I could have just made it all up in my head, but who knows. So I did want to get into, before we get into our 3 stories of the week, I wanted to get into some of my favorite Halloween costumes that celebrities were in this past Halloween. There were so many. I feel like, especially when I was on TikTok and I would just see like just random normal people post, the costumes this year were so creative and so funny, and there were a lot that I would never have thought to do or had never seen before. There were a lot that were costumes of memes also, but there were so many creative ones. So I wanted to go through some of my favorite ones that I saw, and I'll put them up on the screen as well so you guys can see them. But let me hop in to, I saved all of my favorite ones. So let me see. Oh, of course. Okay, we have to talk about the Queen of Halloween, Heidi Klum, and her Halloween party. Honestly, going to her Halloween party would probably make my entire life. I'm obsessed with her Halloween parties every year. She always does something so elaborate. She was like Jessica Rabbit. She was an old lady. She was last year that rainworm. That was, oh my gosh, hilarious. And her husband was the fisherman. And this year, she was a peacock. So this was a group costume this year that she did. So she was like the head and body, I guess, of the peacock, and then everyone, she had like other people behind her that were the feathers, and they did this big stunt and like all stood up and they were like the feathers of the peacock, and it was so cool looking. And then her husband was just an egg, and it was so funny. But I thought it was the coolest costume. Yeah, looking all day, because she kept posting behind the scenes of her getting ready. And at first she had what it was just like red, and so I was like, oh, what is that? But then it was just, I guess, the base for the beak and like the head and stuff. And then she was this blue peacock, and it was so cool. And I love that one. I always have to make sure to see her costume. But yeah, so they were all just the feathers of the peacock. So cool. All right, next one. So this was like one of the ones that was like a meme, but Taylor Lochner and his wife Taylor as well, they were the Pete Davidson and Timothy Chalamet from Saturday Night Live. I thought that was so funny. Super cute as well. I saw so many people who were dressed up as Hailey and Justin Bieber when she was in that super fancy tiny red dress, and he was in the like gray sweatpants and sweatshirt. And so there was this one, it was two younger kids, and they dressed up as them, and I thought it was so cute. And I saw so many people who were dressed up like them, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been such a funny one for me and Chandler to do, because I love them and I thought that was so funny. But honestly, like, I feel a lot of the times I just dress up a little bit nicer than my fiance does sometimes, just because, especially if I've been like at home and I have time to get ready and he's getting back from work, or I don't know. I don't know why people always hate on them when she dresses up and he's in sweatpants or whatever. It's like, who cares what they're wearing? They don't have to match and coordinate every single time they go out. That's just crazy. Anyway, I digress from that. The Kardashians had a lot of different costumes. Especially, they had some with their kids, and then they did one together. This one, they were Bratz dolls. It was Kim and Chloe, and their two friends were Bratz dolls, which I thought was so cute. And then what other ones did I see? There were just a lot of really creative ones. I feel like even if you just go on TikTok, you'll see so many different costumes that were super creative. There were a lot of just like memes. There was one girl who was Janice from Mean Girls, and I'm trying to think what other ones. There were just a lot of really funny ones, but the ones that I mentioned were definitely my favorites that stood out to me. I wish I had those TikToks that I saved of just the people dressing up as random things, because it was so funny, and people were super creative this year. So yeah, that's my little Halloween recap. All right, we're going to get into the top 3 stories of the week. I guess I technically got 4. Yeah, because some of them are a little bit shorter, but I just wanted to make sure to mention them. So the first one is Kim Kardashian is now the NBA's sponsor for the guys' underwear. So I was listening, funny enough, to the radio, and her line Skims is now making men's underwear and is sponsoring the NBA, and they are I think $20 each. Yeah, so she's the official underwear partner of the NBA. And let me just say, I know some people don't like Kim Kardashian, some people love her. All I have to say is this girl knows how to make bank. Like, I feel like anytime I hear something about her, it's just she's doing something else that's a complete 360 from what she was doing before. Like, she was just on American Horror Story, and now she's partnering with the freaking NBA, or she's coming out with a skincare line, and then she's helping these guys who are in jail for life without parole. And it's just, she is what people should aspire to be when it comes to just like working hard and going after things and really pushing yourself. Because even if you don't like her, you can't look at her and not think, wow, like she knows how to make money and make deals, and you know, crazy to me. So yeah, Skims and NBA, I think they're $20 each for a pair. And which I was talking to my fiance about that because I felt like that was really expensive for a pair of underwear, but I guess if it's a nicer pair and they last a while, it's not that expensive. I don't know, to me, I can never spend $20 on a pair of underwear. Like, I buy, you know, you can get them on Amazon or American Eagle or whatever, like a pack of 7 or 8 for that much. But I mean, I guess if people are clearly buying them, then good for her. But I saw something that the men's brand, the Skims campaign, got over 25,000 orders in just 5 minutes. So girlfriend knows how to make money and how to work her brand, that is for sure. And her marketing is, she just has amazing work ethic. And even if you don't like her and don't support her, agree with anything, she does have really good work ethic, and she clearly knows what she's doing. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting that she's now working with the freaking NBA. It's just, I never know what I'm gonna see from her next. So go Kim K. Next, and I mentioned this before, but Matthew Perry did pass away. So sad. I started rewatching Friends just to, you know, watch it in remembrance of him. But it's so sad. And I was reading all of the cast members, what they were saying about him, and I don't know, it's just so sad. But yeah, they were basically saying that the initial autopsy, those results were inconclusive at first, but then they were saying that they were going into further investigation about his cause of death. I don't know if that was a few days ago, so I don't know if they found out what exactly was the cause. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's just really, really sad. But he did launch a foundation that people were talking about as well, that was dedicated to helping people struggle with addiction. And it's just sad that you never ever know what someone's going through, especially when you just see like what he was struggling with and going through during the show and throughout Friends. And it's like you would never ever know, and you don't ever know what someone's going through. And so just to be nice to everyone and loving to everyone, that's something I try to do. I'm not the best at it. I'm definitely working at that every single day, but just taking a step back and not necessarily just looking at someone, you know, from what you see on social media or what you see when you hang out with them every once in a while, because people are always going through something that you will never know, may never know. And I don't know, BravoCon is happening right now, and I don't watch a lot of Bravo shows. Really, I have watched a few Real Housewives, and then obviously Vanderpump Rules. But Ariana and Tom were on the same panel together, and one of these girls that I know, she was there, and she put on her Instagram story when they were talking up on the panel, and everyone was booing him, and I was like, yes. But also, did you guys see his outfit? I'm gonna put it on the screen. This is what he was wearing, and it's like, do you want people to boo you? Do you want people to make fun of you more? Do you want people to hate you? Because if you do, then your outfit succeeded. And I think it is just the ugliest outfit I've ever seen a man wear. his just the whole, it's just so cringy. I was cringing every single time something popped up about him being there. And then also Tom Schwartz, his friend, freaking looked like a just what the heck was his jacket? I think Katie said something like, you look like a couch. Like, it's just, these men need, maybe they do have stylists, but they need better ones. And I don't know if they just want people to talk about how bad their outfits are, because clearly it's working. But yeah, all I've really been following at BravoCon is just them, and he got booed on stage, which is fine in my eyes because he's actually the worst. And then I guess the fourth story, there was just a lot that I couldn't pick which ones I want to talk about, but the Dance Moms are doing a reunion, and so they were all together, but Maddie and Mackenzie and Nia were not there. So this reunion's coming out next year. I think it's on Lifetime TV. And yeah, so Nia, Maddie, and Kenzie weren't there, and of course that caused a ton of drama. Jojo commented on the post and was like, for everyone wondering about who's missing, everyone was invited, but only some wanted to be here. Okay, first of all, that may be true, but you don't need to comment that on an Instagram post to try and stir stuff up. I just thought that was unnecessary and whatever. And honestly, this is the thing, like Dance Moms, yes, there's people who are famous, they have things that they start out on, and that is what gave them their fame, like where they started out. But if it's something where it was, you look back and it was unhealthy or anything like that, you shouldn't feel like that you need to be, for instance, at this reunion, or if you feel like there's something that was in your past and you don't want to go back, like that should be fine. And people should just not, obviously people are going to comment about it because it's social media, and you don't owe anyone or any, just any situation, you don't owe anything to that, if that makes sense. And I'm just rambling, but I'm just like, just leave it alone. You don't need to start drama because some people aren't at this reunion, and the people that were there, great, let's focus on them and let's not bring up anything else about it. So all the girls that are doing the reunion show do look so good. I will definitely be watching it. I am a Dance Moms girl. I love it so much. And yeah, but then I also saw that, not to add on to drama, but for Paige Highland's birthday, they had some of the Dance Moms people that all got together, and it was the people that didn't show up or aren't going to be on this new Lifetime show, but they were all together. So I don't personally think there's bad blood with anyone. I think that some people just don't want to go back to somewhere that they thought was toxic or just not good for them, and that's totally okay, and you don't have to give answers to anyone. And mic drop is all I'll say about that. Alrighty, let's jump into our TV recap because I'm now officially caught up on all of my shows. We're gonna just start out with Dancing with the Stars. The judges need to freaking get a grip, especially Ariana's dance. She did the Argentine tango, killed it, slayed it. The judges said it was perfect, and it was a very what was the word? I forget the word, but it was an Argentine tango, and she did all the movements amazing, like everything was perfect, and then she got like 9s, and I'm like, okay, you can't say that someone did a dance perfectly and then not give them 10s. But everyone's doing so good. Jason slayed. Lele, I just think is a little too sloppy to get into the top 4. She still did really good. Xoxo did really well as always. Charity, I will say, I know people are saying she's going to be in the top 4. I don't see her getting into the top 4 unless, and this is what I will say, they need to bring back the judges save. So if you don't watch Dancing with the Stars, in previous seasons there would be like a bottom two who are in jeopardy of going home, and then the judges would pick which couple they wanted to save, and normally they would pick the couple that was just like the better dancer or the most improved. But this year they don't have the judges save, so it's literally whoever is getting the least amount of votes. And that's why people and couples who aren't very good at dancing, cough cough, you know who I'm talking about, are staying, because they're getting all of the audience votes. Even though they suck and can't dance, they're still getting all of the votes. And then the bottom two, it's just the votes. And so I'm hoping that they bring the judges save back for the rest of the episodes. I don't know if they will, but I could see where people who aren't good at dancing make it into the top four, and that's just not going to be good at all. This happened a few years ago. I forget which season, but there was the top four dancers. There were 3 amazing dancers, and the guy that won sucked, and everyone was in shock. And I'm scared that I know Barry's gonna go home eventually because he's not the strongest dancer there, but he is just so charming and everyone loves him, and I think he is the most improved male dancer there and just has such a good time out there, and he's literally in his 60s or 70s and he's dancing better than a lot of the other people there. Not a lot of the other people there, but some of the people that are already there. He does not need to be the next one to go, maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, Dancing with the Stars, I'm just nervous because now with the popular vote and there not being a judges save, it's just getting really crazy, and you can tell that a lot of the Dancing with the Stars fans are getting fed up that some people are staying and others are getting sent home. Also, Mauricio, however you say his name, and Emma went home, and that really pissed me off because I love them and I thought that they really have been improving, but they went home. So who knows who's gonna go home this next week, because it's literally just all up to votes at this point. The Kardashians, there's just not much substance going on with this show. It's just kind of like, I feel like I'm wasting 40 minutes of my day watching it. But Kourtney Kardashian had her baby, I think 2 days ago, and they named it Rocky, which I don't love the name, but it's not my baby. So anyway, they finally had it. I feel like she's been pregnant forever, so at least she finally had the baby, and it was a healthy pregnancy and everything turned out well. But in the last episode, there was one of the scenes where North was talking about how she likes staying at Kanye's house better because he doesn't have security, he doesn't have a cook, he doesn't have a maid, and everyone's in the comments like, I wish that I had, or they were like, imagine living in a mansion with anything you could possibly want and complaining and wanting to live in an apartment with like no chef or whatever. Like, could not ever be me. And then she was sitting there eating like a raw onion, which she's a very interesting kid to me. Anytime I see her, sometimes her account will pop up on my TikTok, and just any scene with her in the show is just so random, and I'm like, I wonder what she's gonna do when she grows up, because she's just an interesting little kid. Like, imagine being Kim Kardashian's child. That'd be crazy. Anyway, so yeah, not much with the Kardashians show, but it's still just a mindless something to put on. And then lastly, Golden Bachelor, you guys. So there's 3 women left, and of course they left off on a cliffhanger. He gave out 1 rose to Leslie, who I do love Leslie. I low-key feel like he's gonna pick her. I don't think that that's the one he should pick, but I think that's just how it's gonna end up, because he asked for her brother's permission to marry her if he does end up proposing, and then he told her like, you're my girl, and that he loves her. So I'm pretty positive that's who he's gonna end up with. And then Faith is so sweetie. She's so cute, but she wants to stay near her kids, and I think that the location just gonna be an issue, so that's why I think that he's not gonna end up picking her. And then Teresa is the last girl, who I did like her from the beginning episode. She was probably one of my favorites, but I just don't see them together. She kind of just gives off like a, not that she's not genuine, I just feel like she is not the one. I just don't get the vibe that she's the one. And he's also he's told the other two girls that he loves them and did not tell Teresa. So I don't think she's going to get the rose. But anyway, they left off during the rose ceremony where he had one more rose to give out. And then it cut to him like going outside to cry or whatever. So now I have to wait until this week to see who he gives it to. But then they're doing the Women Tell All episode, which I totally forgot about. And I'm so excited to watch it because it's like all these 16, 17-year-old women who are going to be arguing and talking about all the drama. So that's going to be really fun to watch. I'm excited for that. So those are all the shows. The shows, honestly, like, I'm going to be so sad. I feel like they're all going by so fast. It's almost the end for Golden Bachelor. And Dancing with the Stars, I forget how many couples are left. I want to say 7 or 8. And Paula Abdul is coming on as a guest judge, which I'm super excited about. All right, we're going to go into just a couple things that I have to rant about. This first one is definitely my bad and totally my fault. But last month I got pulled over because my license tag, whatever the heck it is, I don't know how any of that works, but it was expired by 8 months because I apparently have to get it renewed on my birthday, and normally my dad would do that for me, and now I have my own car and I totally forgot. So the cop pulled me over and he was like, your tag's expired by 8 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like my dad normally does that for me, but now I have my own car and I'm like on my own. And he was like, oh no, it's okay. So he gave me a ticket, and normally, you just pay online, and since I'm a procrastinator and never get anything done, I get it done in my head and then I don't actually follow through with it. And so I, for some reason, thought that I had to pay it by October 31st on Halloween. And so I wake up on October 30th and I'm like, let me just check the ticket just to make sure. And it said that I had to pay by the 29th of October because my court date was the 30th. And so I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be at court at 9 a.m. So I call the courthouse and the lady's like, you can come in and pay, or you can go to court at 1 to fight it. And I'm like, I'm not trying to fight it because I literally admitted that, my tag's expired. So I'm having a full-on panic attack because I'm thinking that the cops are going to come out and put out a warrant for my arrest because I didn't pay and I didn't show up to court, because you have to pay by midnight of the night before your court date. Basically, I thought that I could pay the morning of, but you have to pay. Anyway, so I'm freaking out. I'm calling my fiance. I'm like crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get arrested, blah blah blah. And so I have to drive 45 minutes to this courthouse, and I walk in, and I, of course, made a big deal out of nothing. But I walked in and the lady was like, hi, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm just trying to make a payment. And then I complimented her nails, and she just took my card and swiped it and then gave me the receipt. I just walked out of there. She didn't ask me any questions. And because I was so scared, I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna make me go into court or like put me in a jail cell. But it all ended up fine. I was in there for 5 minutes. And my rant, though, is that it's just so complicated and scary, like dealing with like tickets and like jail and court and stuff, because like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I had to pay so much money. And then I had a whole panic attack because I got the date wrong. But then it's like, I don't know, I just wish there was an easier way to do everything. And of course it's my bad. I should have just paid right then and there. But that was the scariest day of my life that I've had in a while. I genuinely thought I was going to get arrested and end up in jail, and that would just not be good. So last thing is just about just moving and how much stuff you need that you don't even think you need, like toilet paper, like cooking spray, trash bags, wipes, ketchup, mustard, salt, pepper. There's just so many little things, and I just keep adding and adding and adding to my list. And then it's like I'll buy a few things from my list, and then there's gonna be more things that I have to get, like face wash, towels, just so much crap. So it's like I'm knocking things off my list that I need, but then it's like now I'm adding double that. Pillows, like for my couch. It's just moving is a lot, and I'm glad that we're starting to get everything together before the wedding, but it's going to be a long process. So anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube and can see my background, sooner or later, probably definitely more so later, the background will be completed. It'll look all super cute, but there's just a lot of other stuff in my mind to get this house ready than the pod room. So for right now, this is going to be the cutie background that y'all are going to see. And if you're listening just on Spotify or Apple or whatever, then it doesn't even matter to you. So go you. I am not doing an advice segment at the end because not enough of you hoes wrote in. So make sure that you are writing into the email literallywhat916@gmail.com for anyone who just wants me to give you advice. Even if you have the most out-of-pocket story, or even if your friend needs advice, just write in for them. Even if your friend doesn't think they need advice, but they do need advice, write it in to me and I'll answer. But yeah, also it's crazy that it's November. This is like the most wonderful but most busiest and most craziest time of the year. So lots coming up, but I'm glad I got to sit down and chat with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had a great Halloween and great last couple of weekends. Send some prayers for this next month of my life because it's going to be crazy. But as always, thank you all for tuning in and listening in to the Literally What podcast. And of course, I will see you here next week for more. Y'all can say it in your head. Hot gossip, hot take, stories, advice that will have you say literally what? Bye guys.